Hello, welcome back to Learn Economia. Here again we are with certain solved sample question for UGC NET exam. The first question is with respect to minimum alternative tax. The question is minimum alternative tax was introduced in the budget of government of India in which year? I mean it was for which year this particular thing was introduced. Options are 91, 92, 92, 93, 95, 96 and 96, 97. The right answer is option D, 96, 97. So during this 96, 97 period, it was introduced for the first time in the budget. And minimum alternative tax, or you can in short form call it as MAT, it is actually a tax which is levied on firms or companies or some limited liability partnership making some abundant profit as well as disturbing dividend to its shareholders who leverage on features of Indian taxation system do not contribute towards the government taxation kitty. So for such kind of corporates or for such kind of companies, a minimal tax amounting to some fixed percentage of book profit was charged, and this is known as a minimum alternative tax. Second, you can consider the following statements. Here you are given three different statements. The first is government disinvesting its share in various public sector undertakings. Second, process of disinvestment is very fast. And third one is process of disinvestment is very slow and government always falls short of target. You have to identify which of the following which among the above given statements are true about government policy of disinvestment. You might know about disinvestment, that is the government selling its shares to the private individual, private hands, private companies or something. So you have to identify which of the given statements are or is true. Here option A is 1 only, option B 1 and 3, option C 1 and 2, and option D all the above. So right answer is option B 1 and 3, because the government of India was actually disinvesting its share from public undertakings. Most of the government undertakings were incurring losses, and the main motive of government going for disinvestment is to cover the loss and have profits. It will go for disinvestment of certain industries that were running in losses. It want to replace this loss with profit. That is the main intention of the government when it goes for disinvestment of its shares. So it was during this pre-liberalization period that the government was incurring a lot of losses, and hence after the introduction of the new economic policy of 1991, or the set of liberalization, privatization, globalization policy reforms, what the government has done is that the government started downsizing its share in the public sector undertakings. But the process of disinvestment, it was considered to be very slow during that time, but only after the introduction of this LPG it became relatively faster, because prior to the reforms, prior to the economic reforms of 1991, there were many legal issues, political hurdles, etc. coming in, and it was only after, not soon after, but it was gradually after this economic reforms that the government could incur some government could receive some profit as a result of this investment. Now, next question, PAN card issued by the Income Tax Department cannot be used for which of the following purpose? We know that it is considered to be an identity card. It is considered to be a proof of the registered taxpayer, and it is considered to be a proof of your date of birth as also. Okay, but it is actually not considered to be a proof of your address. So it is, the right answer is option A. It is not considered to be a proof of your address. We know that the permanent account number or your PAN card is a unique alphabetic combination. It consists of both numericals as well as alphabet, and it is issued by the Indian Income Tax Department, which serves as an important proof for your ID, your date of birth, and your proof as a taxpayer. However, you cannot consider it as a proof of your address, as address is actually not mentioned in the PAN card, or it is not mentioned on the PAN card. That is the main reason why you cannot use the same as a proof of your address. Okay. Now, which of the following agencies assigns the agricultural income tax to states in India? Options are Interstate Council, National Development Council, Agriculture Finance Corporation, and Finance Commission. Correct answer is option D, Finance Commission. The agricultural income tax to state in India is assigned to the Constitution of India, and the agency responsible for it is a Finance Commission. And the main function of the Finance Commission is distribution of net proceeds of taxes between the central as well as the state, and this is divided as per the contributions made to the taxes. I mean, the Finance Commission, if you look into it as an agency, you can see that it is mainly to give its recommendations on the distribution of tax revenues between the union as well as the state, among the state themselves, union territories, etc. Now, coming to the Interstate Council, what does it mean? It is established to facilitate coordination of policies and their implementation between the union government as well as the state government. Now, coming to IFC, its main objective is to attain faster increase in the availability of agriculture finance to the client. Okay. Now, coming to another question, which of the following state is the first state to impose agricultural income tax in India? The right answer is Bihar, and agricultural income tax is actually levied on the income from agriculture products, and at present you can see that agriculture is subject At present, agriculture is subjected to two kinds of taxes, direct taxes, and they are agricultural income tax and land tax. And agricultural income tax treatment, if you look into the same, you can see that it is characterized as a valid source of income from sources that comprise agricultural land, buildings, related agricultural land, card, commercial produce from agricultural land, etc. Now, consider following tax with respect to agricultural income. Consider following statements with respect to agricultural income tax. First is agricultural income tax is levied and collected by union government. Then agricultural income tax is levied throughout the country in India. You have to understand which of the statement is correct. Actually, both the statements are wrong. Agricultural income tax is levied on income from agriculture, and agriculture is actually subjected to direct tax, and they are agriculture income tax and land tax, and they are levied by the state governments. Not all states levy agriculture income tax. That is something which is very important to understand. The government of India earns maximum revenue from which of the following? Income tax, union excise duty, custom duty, and corporation tax. Correct answer is option B, union excise duty, because the government you can see that this excise duty is an indirect tax, and it is collected on the manufactured goods in India, and this is considered to be one of the important sources from which the government earns a very big amount of revenue. Coming to custom duty, it is a variation of indirect tax, and this is applicable to all the goods imported and a few goods exported out of the country. Coming to corporation tax or corporate tax, this is a tax imposed by the jurisdiction of income or capital income of the company. Actually, this is a direct tax. Now, the representation of the relationship between possible rates of taxation and the resulting level of government revenue is known as what? You have to see which of the following given here relate to the concepts given here. Actually, the right answer is Laffer curve. It is not Griffin curve or Phillips curve or Gini curve. It is Laffer curve, which represents the relationship between the possible rate of taxation and the resulting levels of government revenue. As we all know, it reflects or it illustrates the concept of taxable income elasticity. That is, taxable income with the change at its taxable income. It says that taxable income will change in response to change in the rate of taxation. And in the case of Phillips curve, as we all know, it is something which relates unemployment as well as rate of inflation. Now, next question. The largest tax collected at federal government level is what? Is it income tax or sales tax or property tax or social security tax? We have to understand that roughly 80% of the income comes from individual income tax. So, the right answer is income tax, option A. So, here we have to see that another 11% comes from corporate income tax and the rest from a mix of different taxes. Now you have to indicate the sequence following in terms of implementation, which was implemented first and which was implemented last. All these, just the sequence need to be identified, the right sequence, the correct answer. You are given the options. You are given income tax, expenditure tax, value-added tax, and fringe benefit tax, and you are given a set of options interplacing 1, 2, 3, 4 in different orders, and the right answer or the right order indicating option is option B, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Actually, income tax was introduced first, then expenditure tax, and value added tax, and then fringe benefit. And the years are given. Income tax was introduced in 1860, expenditure tax was introduced in 1956, value added tax was introduced in 1996-97 period, and fringe benefit tax was introduced in 2005. Which of the following statements are correct? The next question also deals with um, the right or wrong pattern of the statement. The first statement is ability to pay principle of taxation. How the amount of taxes people should pay relate to their income or wealth, and we know that this is a right sentence. Then the second, benefit principle of taxation states that individuals should be taxed in proportion of the benefit they receive from the government program. That too is a right sentence. Third one, a progressive tax takes a larger share of tax from poor families than it does from rich families. We know that it is a wrong sentence because it is a regressive kind of tax which tax poor more rather than the rich. And in the progressive taxation, what happens is that the rich are taxed more compared to the poor. As it is as on the basis of your income, your taxes is levied. It is if your income is more, you are taxed more, and if your income is less, you are taxed less. That is how the progressive kind of tax goes on. Now, coming to the fourth sentence, indirect taxes have the advantage of being cheaper and easier to collect. That too is a right sentence. So the right answer here is option C, 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4, these sentences are right, whereas in the case of the sentence 3, it is wrong because the progressive tax definition is given incorrectly there. The progressive tax receives a larger percentage from the income of higher income earners than it acts from the low income person. Okay. Now coming to the next question, which one of the following is a major source of gross tax revenue for the government of India? Options: income tax, corporation tax, custom duty, and service tax. Correct answer is option B, corporation tax. And it actually provides higher tax collection in comparison to all the other kinds of taxes given here. Next, fiscal policy in India is formulated by whom? Is it the Reserve Bank? Is it the Planning Commission? Is it the Finance Ministry? Or it is SEBI? The right answer is the Finance Ministry. It is the one which has got the responsibility of formulating fiscal policy in India. It is the Department of Economic Affairs under the Ministry of Finance, which is acting as a nodal agency for the union or agency of the union government in order to formulate and monitor the country's economic policies and programs, which deals with economic management. Now, next question, the government can influence private sector expenditure by or through which all of the following? Taxation, subsidies, macroeconomic policies, grants. Actually, the right answer is all the three, or the first three. 1, 2, and 3, taxation, subsidies, and macroeconomic policies. So the government can influence private sector expenditure by taxation, subsidies, and macroeconomic policies. That's it. Now, which of the following are included in the category of direct tax in India? Here you have to understand the difference between direct and indirect taxation, impact, incidence of taxation, etc. Then only you can classify these into direct and indirect. Corporation tax, of the taxes given here are corporation tax, tax on income. Tax on income means your income tax, wealth tax, custom duty, and excise duty. You have to understand which all are the direct tax. So correct answer is 1, 2, and 3. That is corporation tax or corporate tax, tax on income or income tax, and wealth tax. These are considered to be direct tax. Others are indirect taxes. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos. And you can be a part of my Telegram group and Telegram channel to discuss your doubts. There have been a lot of people who are discussing and getting their doubts clarified. That's why I request you to be a part of these. So that's it. Thank you for watching.